Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And in fact, as Alan Jackson and Jimmy Buffett said, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. And it's 5 o'clock right here. So if it's 5 o'clock right here, it must be time for the Christian whistleblower, Jeffrey Darty, and the gospel truth to break out all over you. The question is, what you gonna do? Here we are breaking it down, making it real, bringing you stuff that you can see, touch, and feel, stuff that'll make you better, make you stronger, make you faster, make you to the place where you can stand instead of fall, and you can be a big dog spiritually. Yes, even you ladies can be big dogs spiritually. It's okay. That is good stuff. We got our new schedule going. So 11 o'clock a.m., 5 o'clock p.m., and 11 o'clock p.m. scheduled live shows. There's Ashley from the Stars. You should check out her YouTube channel. And then 8:30 tonight, Hero Journey of the Tarot with Tamu and Gina, who also has her own channel. You should check that out. And then, of course, hey, Kayla, we do have other shows from time to time. Hello from the UK. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback about the scheduling, so I'm glad that you folks like it. And it's good to be here. Excuse me, my big dogs and big bitches. I didn't say that. I'm just repeating it. All right, folks. This is powerful. Ashley says that the energy change feels lighter. I would agree. Although I've been through some dense energy the last couple of days, trying to get me to slow down long enough to be able to hear a very important message that I needed. Hello, Lee Veltman. And I got that message. And I'm about 95 pages into a book that should be done today or tomorrow. And we're going to roll that thing out. And why is this rocket, this launch pad dancing around on my screen down here? I'm new to this whole Mac world. I clicked it and nothing blew up and nothing took off. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But there you go. I'm glad everyone likes the scheduled times. So we talk about Manly P. Hall. And of course, Manly P. Hall, one of the great writers, one of the great esoteric writers, one of the great occultic writers, if you want to call the occult, and that just means hidden. And Maria Pia says, gospel truth on my commute home, and even traffic seems lighter. Hey, I like that. Hey. Anna Navarro, yourself, maybe an app updated. Maybe that must have been what it was. Oh, yeah, because I got a new picture down here of something else. Oh, Siri updated. Now I got Siri on my computer at home. Isn't that great? All right, so we're talking about the Secret Teachings of All Ages, which of course is the magnus opus of Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall, a great writer. And I've got to confess with you, just looking over these things that we're about to talk about today, I've never gone to this place before. So those of you out there, like maybe Lee and some of the rest of you that may have been here before me, somebody's watching you. Yeah. He's, I don't see Rooney around. It's about meaty time for him. So who knows where he is. But at any rate, we're going to go into a place that I've never been before with Manly P. Hall. I kind of skipped through the book and, well, we'll just find out what it's all about. And we're going to talk about a subject that I don't know anything about, but let's go ahead and take a look at it together. And perhaps we can learn some things together. And just following through the book, here's where we are. We are on the mysteries of Asar Hopi. And I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. But according to Manly P. Hall, the identity of the Greco-Egyptian Serapis, known to the Greeks as Serapis and to the Egyptians as Asar Hopi, is shrouded by an impenetrable veil of mystery. Perhaps that's why I don't know much about it because it is surrounded by an impenetrable veil of mystery. And let's make sure I'm still streaming. I had a weird thing come up. Yes, let's go through continue to go through this. I just had a note that said my stream had stopped, so I want to make sure it didn't. So this deity was a familiar deity among the symbols of the secret Egyptian initiatory rites. His arcane nature was revealed only to those who had fulfilled the requirements of the Seraphic cults. So in all probability, except the initiated priests, like probably Moses, the Egyptians themselves were ignorant of his true character. So far as we know, there's no authentic account of the rites of Serapis, but an analysis of the deity and his accompanying symbols reveals their salient points. Hey, come over here. People want to see you. Come up here. So anyway, in an oracle delivered to King of Cyprus, Serapis described himself thus. So Serapis, a deity, but he's writing to people. Perhaps he was a deified person. Perhaps he was a demigod. Or maybe the king of Cyprus was just channeling and maybe on some funny stuff that they smoke in Cyrus. I don't know. A god I am, such as I show to thee. It's an interesting thing for a god to say. A god I am, such as I show to thee. It's interesting to me that Serapis would describe himself as a small g god. So he's much different than, let's say, Yahweh, where Yahweh wants to say, I'm the only God. I'm the only true divinity. Serapis says, a God I am, such as I show to thee. The starry heavens are my head, my trunk the sea. Earth forms my feet, mine ears the air supplies. The sun's far darting brilliant rays, mine eyes. So he waxed poetic, obviously. He did have a sense of, I guess, I don't know if I would call it humility, but not arrogance, although he does seem to be saying that he is everywhere and in all things. It looks like he's claiming omnipresence, but not omnipotence, which is very, very interesting. Who is Serapis? Who is the god Serapis? Has anyone weighed in? Serapis or Apis, bull. The Ser meaning serpent or wise one. Bull being the time of Taos. Used to construct plastic Jesus. Let's see what says. I almost said Blavatsky, but no, we're talking about Manly P. Hall. Several unsatisfactory attempts have been made to etymologize the word Serapis. Now, etymology means where you go and you look at a word and find out where it came from. Godfrey Higgins notes that Soros was the name given by the Egyptians to a stone coffin. And Apis was Osiris incarnate in the sacred bull, or Apis, as we just had in the chat room talking about the sacred bull. So these two words resulted in Soro Apis or Sorapis, the tomb of the bull. But it's improbable that the Egyptians would worship a coffin in the form of a man. I find that improbable also. But the bull, Doc Illusion says Apis is the bull. That concurs with what Manly P. Hall is saying as well. We might want to define the definitions of deity, gods, etc. Hero is a demigod, half-breeds. Yeah, I understand that. And why are you using the G space D? If you're enlightened as you seem to be, why do you cling to those superstitions? Just a question. Several ancient authors, including Macrobius, have affirmed that Serapis was a name for the sun, because his image so often had a halo of light about his head, just like somebody else we know, Soylent Jesus, aka Plastic Jesus. So now we've got some solar recognition, some solar imagery around this Soros Apis or Sorapis. And now we have some bull energy. And when you start thinking about solar imagery and bull imagery, then you're starting to come into the realm of Yahweh. You're starting to come into the realm of Soylent Jesus, Plastic Jesus. Very, very interesting stuff. In his oration upon the sovereign Son, Julian speaks of the deity in these words: one Jove, one Pluto, one Sun is Serapis. In Hebrew, Serapis is seraph, meaning to blaze out or to blaze up. For this reason, the Jews designated one of their hierarchies of spiritual beings seraphim. This begins to interest me because seraphim are most often spoken of in terms of being reptilian in nature. So now we have possibly reptiles of the sun, bullish reptiles of the sun, teenage mutant reptile sun bulls. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. Very interesting stuff, though. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting discussion. It's not a Mexican syrupy thing then. Red Bull, not Gnostic Deist, Golden Dawn, and Manly P. Hall. And the differences is why I'm not saying too much. Gnostic Deist, Golden Dawn, and Manly P. Hall. And the differences is why I'm not saying too much. I don't follow you, Lee. Yeah, many people do see the seraphim as being serpentine in nature. Very interesting. So Hall never talked about anything that was, or fiery ones, yeah. Seraphim is the blazing serpent of the rat bastard used to designate the false sun. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So we continue with this deep study. All right, where'd I go? Here we are. The most common theory, however, regarding the origin of the name Serapis. So we've got solar imagery, we've got bull imagery, we've got reptilian imagery, teenage mutant sun reptile bulls. The most common theory, however, is that it traces from the compound Osiris Apis. At one time, the Egyptians believed that the dead were absorbed into the nature of Osiris, the god of the dead. Where's John Ward when you need him? So Osiris was the god of the dead. I think more correctly it would say that Osiris was the god of the afterlife, because you certainly don't have just the wicked dead associated with Osiris, which is one of the beings that the plastic Jesus was based upon, the Soylent Jesus. So now we're getting even closer to some of this imagery. There's a lot of similarity between Osiris Apis and Serapis. Most Egyptologists say that Serapis is just a name given to the dead Apis, or sacred bull of Egypt. Hall didn't believe that, though. He said that the wisdom possessed by the Egyptian priestcraft, who in all probability used the god to symbolize the soul of the world, the anima mundi. The material body of nature was called Apis, the soul which escaped from the body at death, but was enmeshed with the form during physical life, was designated Serapis. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, this is leading along my recent studies. When you look back into the ancient wisdoms, if you go back to Babylon, you go back to Egypt, you go back to Sumer. Lee Veltman still says Nanu Nanu. White or red lodge, but I'm not a stickler on rules. I achieved Kundalini and had a halo effect. Interesting. I know I'm a commander of the White Square in the Royal Temple and Arch of Enoch and Toth. Congratulations. That's interesting. So when you go back and you study the ancient wisdoms, and you go back and you look at the ancient wisdoms of Egypt, the ancient wisdoms of Sumer, the ancient wisdoms of Babylon, and they all seem to somehow wind back, or this idea of the Brahmanic extraction or the wisdom of India seems to be very much intertwined or very much connected, or at least very closely related. So the Brahmanic, the Vedic, the ways of India are definitely some of the most ancient ways, and with their very, very expansive and specific alliteration of deities and constellations and gods. I know that's redundant. It makes for a really spiffy system of astrology to really give you great insight into your true nature. So C.W. King believes Serapis to be a deity of Brahmanic extraction. So he thinks that Serapis comes out of India. And his name is actually the Grecianized or Westernized form of Ser Ada or Sripa, two titles ascribed to Yama, the Hindu god of death. Isn't it interesting how when we realize that we don't have the only way, when we realize that there's other smart people in the world, and we realize that there's more things for us to learn than just from the Bible, we begin to have our minds opened up. And this appears reasonable, says King, especially since there's a legend to the effect that Serapis, in the form of a bull, was driven by Bacchus from India to Egypt. The priority of the Hindu mysteries would further substantiate such a theory. Wow, that is interesting. Egypt, Sumer, Babylon, India. Very interesting. They all seem to wind up around each other, emanate from each other, coalesce into each other. Another meaning suggested for the word Serapis are the sacred bull, the sun in Taurus. I think that's what Mr. Illusion said before. The soul of Osiris or Osiris, the sacred serpent, which we're talking about before, and the retiring of the bull, the last appellation, reference to the ceremony of drowning the sacred Apis in the waters of the Nile every 25 years. And look who makes his face known right here at the end here, as we come to this whole thing. Look who it is. Oh, it's our friendly little Yaldabaoth. Let's see if he'll get large here, as it says. Nope, he got small. But it's our friendly little Yaldabaoth, the lion-faced light power. Looks very much like Yaldabaoth. Now, my question is, does so much of this stuff lead back to Yaldabaoth, or does Yaldabaoth want us to believe that so much of this stuff lies back to him? The Gnostic gem represents by its serpentine body the pathway of the sun, and by its lion head the exaltation of the solar in the constellation of Leo. I am becoming more and more convinced the more I study. And then right underneath Yaldabaoth, what do we have? We have the labyrinth. What have we just been talking about lately? The labyrinth. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. So I have become more and more convinced the more I study, the more I meditate, the more I look, the more I ponder, the more I find, the more I believe that I am along the lines of Jen Fisher, Just say no way to Yahweh. Just say no way to Yahweh. Susie's had to resubscribe twice now. Keep doing it because they keep kicking people out. They keep kicking people out. Bacchus, Mardi Gras, mirth is king. Zoroaster, Saraswati. It all is interesting, and it all seems to sometimes lead the way back to Yahweh. And I say no, it doesn't lead the way back to Yahweh. Yahweh is just a master thief. He's a master appropriator. He's a master. It's like he was shown to be, if you watched our show earlier today. He is a thief. He comes only to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And perhaps before he fell, he had something to give, but now he has nothing to give. He just has to steal. He just has to kill. He has to destroy. And you have to understand, when you steal, of course, you obtain. But when you kill, you obtain through the power of blood magic. And when you destroy, you're able to lift yourself up because there's one less thing, person, or place to oppose you. So Yahweh is the great thief. He's the great killer. He's the great destroyer. The Christ said that he was the original liar. The Christ says that he was the original murderer. The Christ is the chief archon, as Denise James says, or excuse me, Yahweh is the chief archon. Yaldabaoth is the chief archon. And the script did say that labyrinths are initiation, and it is initiation when you leave this world and have to go to your next destination. You do have to go through a labyrinth, which is an initiation. That's why we're teaching you in our series how to get through the initiation, how to get through the labyrinth. Wow. Very, very interesting stuff. All that within a page and a half of the secret teachings of all ages by Manly P. Hall. Fascinating stuff. Powerful stuff. The ancient wisdoms seem to be interrelated. It's almost enough to make one think that the ancient wisdoms came from a common source. Imagine that. It's almost enough to make people say that all of this might have come from this same well. And then we've got that silly little Yaldabaoth trying to take credit for everything, steal everything, kill and destroy what he can't steal or appropriate for himself. And, you know, Mari makes an interesting question. Same shit, different book, right? Aligning the chakras is similar to a labyrinth, which is why my assertion is that the chakras are not organic to our true form. And the chakras are probably openings for the entry of beings and energies that are not particularly beneficial to us, which is why I tend to advocate the closing of the chakras. And those that have undergone that process with me or at my suggestion have unanimously said they feel much, much better. But that's a personal choice. That's a personal decision. The caduceus, the Merkaba. Interesting stuff. Interesting things to ponder. Interesting things to think about. I heard chakras got here when the moon got here. I don't know about that. I think it's clear from Genesis, if there's anything clear from Genesis, that the chakras are part and parcel of this mud body that was created by Yahweh. And I think I agree with Sassy Susie that there's something stinky there. The chakras are a stinky. Susan says, can you remove your chakras? I think you can remove your chakras, but I prefer to close them and leave them intact. Is that like closing in on yourself, Jeff, closing chakras? I would say no. Tamu says, is a common source. We must unite. Unity, no more division, oneness. I agree. Metronon's cube. I'm conflicted in the chakras. That's why sometimes people close them down so they can get some clarity. I think you can if it's inorganic. I would agree with you, Sassy Susie. The moon is not what we think it is. I agree. And I would say, yes, being more of yourself. The moon is probably not green cheese, but it's not what we have been told that it is. Close the chakras and you're not spiritually inclined or sexually active. I disagree, Mari, but that's okay. We're allowed to disagree with each other. In fact, I profoundly disagree. I have seen it to be exactly the opposite, more focused, more able to direct intention, less scattered, and less feeling like you're out of control and there's other things leading and guiding you. But that's just my experience. You have your experience. I have my experience. I honor your experience. You honor my experience. We learn from each other. And we just keep going. Uh-oh. Somebody said the N-word. Somebody said the N-word. Well, you know what? If you expect something, that's usually what you get, T-Witten 828. Yeah, I'm not into the chakras myself. I've closed them off except for the crown chakra so I can get in and out of this thing. The moon is being run by the blue avian flu. Yes, you can reopen them if you want to. Oh, then fix yours up then. How much can I fix up something that the Lord put there? That's my idea. Never heard of closing chakra. Seems like a good idea. I think so. Baal, the bull god of Taurus in the zodiac, Babylon's deception is to keep us in that age. Hence the book of Baal, the Bull. B-U-Y, bull. Yoga speaks of the chakras. That's why I'm conflicted. If it's Vedic, it could be legit. There you go. I don't think I used the right words. Okay, you're welcome. Correct experience. Achieve Kundalini through practicing abstinence, healing the root chakra. Well, if abstinence brought Kundalini, I'd be Kundalini up the Yahoo. Ashley removed her chakras. What's been your experience after removing them, Ashley? Bueno or no bueno? Jen says she's out. I'm not sure what that means. Anna just leaves hers alone. Thanks, Jeff, for clarifying the chakra system. Again, it's up to each one of you. I found that people that do close them, I always encourage them to leave the crown chakra open. And when they close them, they find themselves much more focused. They find it much easier to direct their intention. It turns down the noise, and it allows them to make sure that everything that's coming in is coming in from where they want it to be. Ashley says they can come back. Oh, abstinence. There you go. Fluoride water. I drink only distilled water. It is Vedic, and the Western Hemisphere corresponds to different ideology. I think the Vedic is very, very, very powerful. No chakras, but I do practice breathing calmly in all situations. That's very powerful as well. Many a man has been healed by deep breathing. Stupid question, but my advice on where to get more info on closing the chakras. There's not much of it out there, Davey. Not much of it out there at all. I go through a guided meditation to close them. Mindful meditation. I'm learning to follow my inner knowing, not others, says Jeffrey Douglas. And that's another thing that closing the chakras helps you to do. I don't see Dylan in here. I believe Dylan closed his chakras. And you should listen to this one again. It's good stuff. 8:30, Tom Moo and Gina. 11 o'clock, our regularly scheduled live broadcast. We had a very raucous 11 a.m. broadcast today. You might want to go ahead and listen to that one too. That was very, very interesting. And we're going to be talking about the untouchable third rail of the truth movement at some point. I can't do it right now. I've got too many other things on the table, but there you go. Chakras should be balanced and closed inward. Well, that's what Tamu and Gina has to say. Visualization and intent. It's all experience. Absolutely. Yes, it is. Powerful stuff, strong stuff. I recommend you get into the teachings of Manly P. Hall on your own. I recommend that you begin to look at parabiblical information and glean wisdom from it. And since Hurricane Irma, the ringing in Julie James' ears has stopped. Very interesting. Maybe you had some issue with pressure, atmospheric or barometric pressure. The untouchable third rail, we know what it is. Just go back to the 11 a.m. Show today, and you'll see what it was. Did the voices stop too? Oh, Ryan, that's bad, but that is some funny stuff right there. And when you reclaim your soul, there's no room for chakras to come back. I like the way Ashley from the Stars thinks. I really do. All righty then, folks. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. The name of his main book is The Secret Teachings of All Ages, Manly P. Hall. Parabiblical just means beyond the Bible. Believe it or not, there is truth and wisdom beyond the Bible. Absolutely. You got it, Denise. Positively. Oh, come on, T. Witten. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Wow, I just got a big direct deposit. It must be time for book money from Amazon. And I love you in Canada. Absolutely. All right, folks. I'm new to this. I use Secret Teaching of Light of Yeshua. I'd be careful with Yeshua. Yeshua means the Lord is salvation, but that's just me. That's just me. I salute you that are seeking truth. Hello, Donna Miller, my friend. Peace to you as well. Just got her American Book of the Dead. Boom. There you go. And somebody had to say it. God loved Manly P. Hall and the ancient secret schools. Absolutely, Lee Veltman. And with that, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your Christian Whistleblower. This has been the Gospel Truth. And of course, Veltman has to go ahead and do it again. And this has been the Gospel Truth about some gospel truth. So we look, we appreciate, and we appreciate y'all looking with us. And until 8:30, I remain your Christian Whistleblower. And I encourage you, remember, no original sin, spark of divinity within. Love yourself, love everybody, be excellent to each other. And that's not just something I say, it's something I mean. And make the change you want to see. If you want to see a change in your life, just make it. If you want to see a change in your world, make it. Make the change you want to see. And how do you do that? You do that by being and staying fearless, my friends.